Hi, everybody. Jill Allen here. I'm excited to be bringing another little mini series in my traction videos. And we're going to be talking today about hiring. And I know that many of you are in a position where either you're going to be rehiring employees, or maybe you just have to hire new employees. Maybe you never got an opportunity to bring somebody on because you were brand new and COVID hit and you kind of had to put your whole hiring process on pause. Or maybe you had just gotten going and had to let your employees go, and they just aren't going to be people that you're going to be bringing back. So I thought now's a good time just to do a little refresher course on what does it look like to hire and to get ready for having new employees potentially or existing ones in the practice. So I think that each of us are going to have to, make a decision on what do we do if we furloughed an employee or if we're going to be hiring somebody. And so, first thing that I think is really important is to look at if you are rehiring an employee, what does that look like? So, the one thing that I think is very important is if you're going to be bringing back an employee, you need to have kind of a plan for rehire. So, you need to be reaching out to your previous employees. You need to be getting a planned start date in place. You need to be thinking about is there anything that you need to discuss? Maybe you've taken some time to reevaluate your office manual, maybe some new policies in the practice, and you want to bring back your existing employee, but you also want to bring them back with some new terms. So I think that we need to be using something called a rehire letter. And what that rehire letter is going to do is it's going to let us lay out the terms of their new employment because you did take them off payroll, or in most cases, you did take them off payroll and they are being rehired on. So, what happened with maybe with their vacation and what happened, did any benefits change, any of those different things? And is there anything new that you're going to want out of their position as they come back on? And I have just a little example letter here. There's so many of these out there on the internet. This is just a very generic one. But I think, we just need to have something in writing that the employee, because you had terminated them, is now coming back on and they're agreeing to the new terms, especially if anything has changed. Another thing that I think is important besides this letter here is if you have done anything with your employee manual, if you've made any changes, if you've adjusted anything there, it's important that they have and sign that they have reread the new office manual and agree to the new policies that are in place. Now, once we have kind of dealt with the employees that we are rehiring back, a lot of doctors still may need to hire a few new employees. And I think this could be new for a lot of you because you maybe have had a really solid team before, or you may be brand new and you're thinking, gosh, I need to start looking for somebody, but what exactly does that look like for me? So the first thing that I think is really important is you need to know kind of the landscape of where we post ads has changed. And so there's a lot of new companies out there. Each of them offer different things, but I think right now some of my favorites out there are Indeed. I really like ZipRecruiter a lot. Glassdoor is a new company that's out there, and sometimes even you can post out on your local dental sites. I don't see a lot of people posting to Craigslist. Obviously, we aren't running ads in newspapers anymore. So if you're new to this, really be looking for which site provides you the most or works best for you. And the great thing is it's all digital now, so there's a lot of tools that are out there to help us. Something else that I think is really important is when you are looking at doing these ads, you need to really be thinking about what does your ad say about you. So does it ensure that your employees know, your future employees know what you're looking for? So you want to make sure that you're really articulating what you're looking for and you have an ad that's going to stand out. There's probably going to be a lot of people out there advertising and looking for new employees. So you don't want to be hidden, and look like a boring office. You want to look like a fun, exciting office. Another thing that I think is really important is be specific about what you're looking for in a new employee. We've got, especially with digital ads, we've got plenty of room to put what we're looking for. And I don't think that now is the time to settle for employees. And the last thing is, I think it's important to really look at what is the range of your hourly wage. So, like I talked about in previous videos, have you thought about what you're willing to pay for a new employee, and what does that range look like? I think it's better to put a range on these ads than to put a specific dollar amount, because everybody's a little bit different, and I don't think it's just a dollar amount that we're looking for with an employee. The next thing that I think is really important is when you're evaluating these platforms that you're going to be putting your ads on, make sure that they're going to work for you. Again, each platform offers different things. Some of them will allow you to just very quickly go through and screen out your employees. You can reject the ones you don't want. You can say yes to the ones you do. Others of them will let you do skill assessment tests right as part of the resume process. I think that this is a wonderful tool for you getting to see if the potential employee is actually really paying attention to the ad, or if they've got something that's just auto populating and sending resumes out for them. I do believe that on a lot of these sites, if you pay a little bit more, you do get better quality potential employees coming to you. So it may be something you look at on these sites. And the biggest thing is also just look at choosing a maximum budget for your hiring process. So we don't want to break the bank here as we are trying to find our new employees. So make sure you've got a cap. If on some of these they charge you by the day, you have a cap and know what you're going to be spending. The next thing is, once you start getting these resumes come in, it's going to be really important that you start to really screen these employees. And I will tell you that you're going to get a lot of resumes coming at you, but a lot of them aren't going to really make sense for what you're looking for. So some of the things I look at cursory is just what type of employment gaps. Now, obviously, if many employees right now have an employment gap because of COVID, right? So we can use our heads and go, okay, if they've been out of work, April, March into April, but they had long employment histories before that, we can overlook the little COVID gap. But if they've had lots of in and out of jobs, maybe there's they aren't really paying attention to spelling. And that is a joke here on the screen, spelling errors, within their resumes. Remember, this employee, if you're hiring for a front desk, they could be communicating for you. So we want to be looking and really scrutinizing what they're sending in. And I also think, be looking for cut and paste errors. Are they applying for a back office position, but their resume looks like they were just applying for a vet tech? So really be looking and scrutinizing these different things here. I think the next thing that's really important is, as you start to pull in all these resumes, and again, a lot of these sites will do this for you, you want to rate out these employees. So maybe I always say on a scale of 1 to 3, 1 meaning I need to hurry up and act quickly. I need to get them on the phone. I need to get them on a video chat, and I need to see if they're the right person for me, versus maybe a number 2 is I have my top 5 ones that I really want to talk to. A 2 would be, if these ones don't work out, maybe there's some potential here. And a 3 is just somebody that you just don't even need to worry about. We really don't have time. You just don't have time to be thinking and mulling over, can I make somebody who doesn't have any experience at all work as my lead assistant? No, you don't. Don't even think about it. So again, you want to be rating these resumes as you're going through. The next thing that I think is really important is you should do your homework. So before you schedule your phone or video interviews, I think that you should be pre-screening, looking at those resumes. I think that you should be out there being a social lurker. If you can, go back and try and find these employees, see what their social posts say, see what they may have had to say about previous employers, and be watching for any red flags. And if you're looking at an employee that their whole site is, clubbing and drinking on the weekends, you may have a problem with this employee showing up and being there for you on Monday mornings. So just really be looking at that. We can't use this to judge our employees, but I think it's good to just kind of, fortunately or unfortunately, that's what social media. People are living their lives on social media, and I think it really does help you as an employer kind of get a feel for somebody that you might not be able to find that out until a month into employment with you. The next thing that I think is really important is if you're going to do an interview, I think right now more than ever, and I thought this even before COVID, but you should start by doing a phone or a video interview with your employees. I do not think we should be bringing them in for face-to-face interviews right from the beginning. And one of the things that I think is very important is the interview actually starts with the correspondence that you have with them through email. Because again, you want to be watching, how do they correspond? Can they put together a sentence? Does it sound professional in the way they're corresponding with me as their potential employer? Because I think all those little things are very important. We want to keep our phone and our video interviews very simple. I say, no more than a 10 to 15-minute interview. You want to use a questionnaire and you want to take really good notes. So here's an example of some of our phone interview questions that we use when we're coaching with teams. This is just a small little snippet of some of the things, but I think that having a questionnaire to go through is really important. And I also like some higher level thinking questions as well. Making sure that, it's not just that they can answer the questions that we think they should be able to answer, but also what are those higher level, questions that we can get from them. From there, I also think, especially if you're doing a video, usually we would be doing some of this in person, but we may not have as big of an opportunity to do the in-person interviews as we had a month or two ago. So at least if we're doing a Zoom or some type of a video conference, you can evaluate how this person looks even on their screen. So did they come appropriately dressed even for their conference video interview? How was their body language? Were they able to make eye contact with you? Were they able to complete their sentences? Could you get a feel for what their personality was like? And I think that, the biggest thing is, this isn't the perfect way. Of course, we'd like to interview in person, but we have these tools that we've kind of been forced to use, especially as we've gone through this little COVID crisis. Why not use these tools to also help us, just in screening and working with new employees? And the biggest thing too, I always say is, they may not be a perfect fit, but if you think that somebody, has the right personality, we can't train personality, but we can train skills. So sometimes you can find that perfect person and work on training them in the skill level. The next thing is, when you're ready, you want to be ready to offer them a job. I don't think that people are going to sit on the market very long. So when you're ready, you want to make sure that you are doing an offer letter. And it looks like this one didn't show up real well on the screen here, but I'm always happy to send these out if somebody needs a copy of this. But you want to put your offer in writing. It's very important. That way there's no question about who owes, who what you said and what was interpreted. The next thing that I think is really good to know once you've done that is and I'm going to back up for just a second here, get all of that in writing, and then go ahead and work on getting them into the office and getting started. Of course, there's a lot more that goes to this process as we're going along. As we kind of finish up, I did want to just put this out there. I have had a lot of docs that, have wanted to know a little bit more about hiring. We actually at Jill Allen and Associates offer a hiring deck. Normally, it's a $200 value. It's a very in-depth training deck that comes with a lot of extra tools with it. We're offering that right now for 50% off. So if that is something you're interested in and you want a little bit more meat and potatoes than what you got in this little video, please reach out. I'd be happy to get those training tools in your hands. So again, thank you so much. I hope that this has been helpful going through our little